It's really just kind of like the thing picks you. Honestly, like pretty much just something triggered and I just couldn't stop doing it.
Your name for the judges, nice and loud.
Exacto.
Exacto! 3, 2, 1!
I started beatboxing in California at the end of 2008. I was just like, this is a cool thing you could do, but I don't know how I'd be able to make a living doing it. And when I started, I knew of maybe like 3 beatboxers on like the whole West Coast. And I knew in California that there was something happening in New York. So when I left, it was like August of 2014. So I took 3 months, just like backpack, couch surf. But I got to New York and I was like running out of money and I was just going to like every show I could and was like, okay, if you can do this in New York, you can do anything. I did like 7 months of like, I don't know, it probably like 4 or 5 days a week. I'd sleep like 3 to 5 hours a night or whatever. But I was gonna do it. You know what I mean? I wasn't gonna come to New York and like I don't have a fail safe, so I wasn't gonna be like, oh, if I don't make it, I'll just go back to whatever. It was like, let's do this or let's just not. Then why are you doing any of it? I was like, okay, I know there's stuff here, but how do I find it or how do I tap into it? And it just like exploded.
Okay, salsa makes me think of aliens. Aliens make me think of Canadian. And you talked about the railroad, it sounds so fun.
And so you just pick up your phone and say, Uncle Henry, can you help me with some cash? Give you like the cash.
I found an improv theater in New York, and that's where I met Kayla Milady, who was the beatboxer for the hip-hop improv group that I'm now the beatboxer for, called North Coast. She just like threw me a bunch of gigs real quick, like, oh, I can't do these things, you can do it. It was like doing sound effects for an acrobatics troupe. That was super fun. And I was like, oh, this is rad, and I've always thought of stuff like this. It was just like, oh, everyone does all these things. Like, every idea that you've had, you can do and support yourself in New York. And that was a huge part of my life for it to be like, you can do whatever you want, like, let's go, let's do this. And people want it, like, people want you to collaborate with them, and people want this, like, cool thing that you can do. Beatboxing rules.
You want to do it backwards, show and opening volume? Yeah. Cool.
Your beatboxer for the evening, Exacto.
Exacto, first off, it just kind of like snapped and made sense. When I started beatboxing, I was doing a lot of multi-layered hand-cut stencil paintings with an Exacto knife for at least 20 or 30 hours of just like cutting, and then you spray it and then you pull it back, and it's with like basic paper, and you could probably use it once or twice and then it's done. It's like almost all of the artwork I do is it's kind of like a sand mandala type mentality where like the creative process is what matters. And then once it's done, move on to the next thing. Don't get stuck on an old thing. And then it's also like Exacto, it's like I'm trying to get things to the most exact place. Precision, getting sounds to the best that they can sound, just really trying to like streamline things in a positive way. Exacto is spelled X-A-C-T-O for the blade. My name's Ethan, so I had to like own it somehow. So I put that on there, so it's E-X-A-C-T-O. But yeah, so it comes from actually the combination of art and all those things, so it's like always kind of been fused together. Yeah, this is pretty much where I walk almost every night. Go like 3-4 blocks, and it's usually pretty chill. So pretty much when I like am coming up with like new beats or new routines, either for a show or just kind of for myself, like it usually stems from either something personal and then kind of making it like vague enough for a lot of people to associate with it. I was wearing a dragon shirt. Game of Thrones had just come out, like for the 6th season or whatever. And so I just did like maybe 5 minutes before, I was like, okay, I'll do some type of like kind of power beat with Khaleesi in it. And usually the process is doing do a beat to build up to it so that when you actually drop, it's like something significant. So it might be like Khaleesi, queen of the dragons. Khaleesi, queen of the dragons. Queen of the something like that. If I'm walking down the street or I'm in my apartment, I can usually just do whatever I want, and it's not, I don't even think. Like, it's just like either muscle memory or just doing like the same beats that I like love doing over and over again that are just kind of ingrained. But then when I'm on the train, I usually put my headphones in, but it's funny because I usually won't do stuff if other people can pick up on it. I don't want to make a show of it if it's like, you know, everybody on the train wants to be in their own car going wherever. They don't want your show. But sometimes I can't help it, and I'm not going to turn off my work. Sometimes I like will actually work on newer stuff because I'll figure it out while I'm on the platform, and I'll be like, oh, I got to get this. And then I'll be on the train just like doing kind of like more stuff that's like throat or like closed mouth. Because such a wonderful thing about beatboxing is you just do it all the time, anywhere. Like, I don't have to schedule rehearsal. I don't have to like have a space. Like, I can just do it when I'm going for a walk. My BMGs are super weak. I don't even know how people are learning now because there's so much content now, which is wonderful. But beatboxers are just getting so good so fast. I'll meet a beatboxer who's been doing it for a year, and they're doing almost all the sounds that I would be doing after like 5 or 6 years. And I'm just like, dude, that is so sick. And then it's being like, dude, yes, and then take that and be you. Like 100%, learn all those sounds, that's great, but then do your thing. And if that takes a long time to figure out, for sure. You're gonna be like doing it in like a day.
What's up, guys? We're about to kick this off. Everyone pull out your tickets.
Are you ready? Bass drop like
regardless of how American Champs goes, still like in a really good mindset, but I'm pretty like, I can definitely say I'm super hungry.
Your name for the judges, nice and loud.
Exacto.
Exacto! 3, 2, 1!
Every time you hear them, you can always call me. Every time you hear them, you can always call me. Every time you hear them, you can always call me. Every time you call me, me.
And that's time! Hashtag ABC NYC 16. That just happened live on the live stream. Make some noise!
Kayla Milady is the female world champion. And so she like went to Berlin, Germany and competed last year and won. And she came back and she was like, we were talking one time and she was like, dude, look, I have that title. I went there, I did that. No one cares. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your title is, especially with beatboxing. It's not like some weird endorsement thing just happens. Like there's like barely any money. Everybody's scraping just to get the world champs put together, which is super sick of them to do. But like, it's all just for respect and all for community. And then using that momentum to just develop yourself even more as a professional and just do as much work as possible. Beatboxing is so quintessential to like improvising, and as much as you want to plan stuff, it probably doesn't work out that way. And at least in my life, everything that has been like super epic just happened.
Alright.